Namaskar. Hello, friends. We shouldn't try to make someone else become spiritual. First and foremost, a spiritually inclined person need not think or believe that he or she is special in any way. He or she should not start out from an assumed high perch that I have reached a point higher than others around me, and from here it is my duty to help them climb up. No, I don't think this is a right attitude. There is a divine plan for everyone, and there is a place and time for spirituality in everyone's life, or in a few of the myriad lives one goes through. Yes, it is quite possible that I may have a role to play as an instrument in the divine plan to help someone else onto the spiritual path. But if I really think so with respect to a particular person, I should do it in a Karma Yogi spirit. That is, do your duty and not bother about the outcome. Just share your ideas with that person and leave it to him if he or she wants to make use of them. Do not be attached to the objective of making that person spiritual. Do not forget that non-spiritual persons very much belong to this creation, and the fact that they are very large in number indicates some particular divine design behind it. Then who am I to challenge that design? It is better to think that the divine wills only a few real gurus to undertake this task of guiding a small number of sincere spiritual seekers who have an intense enough desire to pursue spirituality. There is no point in every seeker also trying to assume the role of a guru. Everyone is certainly capable of pursuing spirituality. However, the vital prerequisite is a very sincere and intense enough desire to do so. It is like a lazy person not having the desire to take up exercises. He is certainly capable, but he does not want to do. I, as a friend, may tell him a couple of times about the need and benefits of exercise, although he may be perfectly aware of them also. But he still may not develop the necessary desire, and I do not have any leverage to force him into it, as I may possibly be able to force my teenager son to an extent. Hence, it does not seem right to push an unwilling person onto the spiritual path, even if everyone is capable. Even Sri Krishna says in Srimad Bhagavad Gita that there is no special capability that one has to acquire to pursue spirituality. But the fact remains that one needs to have the relative desire and has to follow a certain minimum regimen of controlled and moderate living together with abhyas, that is, repetitive contemplative meditation. And that is where most people are lacking. They don't see any need to change their lifestyle and adopt something that seems ascetic and unnecessary to them. Each one of us is made up of a particular combination of gunas, that is sattva, rajas and tamas. Sattva guna is godly and it is amenable to spiritual influence. Rajas guna drives action towards enjoyment of worldly pleasures. Tamas is ignorance about right or wrong and causes physical harm and loss to self and others. From a modern perspective, we may say that the gunas are the genetic code that each one of us possesses. So, in effect, the gunas or the genetic code is like a software program that is guiding the execution of our respective lives. We may even say that the Creator creates all kinds of combinations of these gunas so as to have as much variety as possible for a nice, exciting drama. Just like a movie script having good, bad, ugly, as well as comic characters. Given this, can my telling someone else to pursue spirituality convince him to follow my advice? It depends on the kind of relative proportion of the three gunas operating in that person at a given point in time. If there is predominance of sattva, there is a likelihood that my advice may become just the instrument to push him towards spiritual pursuit. However, if sattva guna is not predominant, no amount of my arguing will convince that person about spirituality. That is the reason Shri Krishna says in Srimad Bhagavad Gita, chapter 3, verse 26, that we should not try to indulge in buddhi bheda, that is, argument with the objective of convincing someone, of an ignorant person. Such a person is, in a sense, helpless due to the kind of gunas he has, lacking adequate proportion of sattva guna. It is better to leave him alone. Our Guru says that a common tendency on the part of a beginner on the spiritual path is to immediately try and get others around him onto the same spiritual path. This tendency has to be guarded against for two reasons. Firstly, as described above, gunas are the drivers of everyone's life, and without any worldly leverage against the other person, I can't push him or her into any action of my choice. In other words, for example, if I have the leverage as a parent, I may be able to push my child into reciting Hanuman Chalisa every day. But I won't be able to do the same with my neighbor's child, against whom I have no leverage. Besides, even with my own child, though I may achieve that limited success of making him recite Hanuman Chalisa, it is quite likely that he will stop it at the first opportunity when he grows up, if he does not have enough sattva guna in him. Secondly, engagement with other people dominated by rajas and tamas gunas may hamper a sincere seeker's own progress due to a negative influence through contrary arguments by them that can sow a seed of unnecessary doubt in the seeker's mind about his own path. However, if a seeker is sure that another person has a predominance of sattva guna, then keeping company of such a person helps the seeker's own progress. That is satsanga. Role of words in spirituality. In our pursuit of spirituality, we are invariably mired in a swirling ocean of words. We come across different people trying to express the same principle using so many different words. Even when I contemplate on spiritual principles, I have to take recourse to words. My experience is that I am still left unsatisfied after reading many different wordy presentations. And I am sure this must be so with most seekers. The reason behind this seems clear to me. Spirituality pertains to what is beyond the physical world. But words, that is languages, have been created by human beings after the physical world came into existence, and hence they are necessarily rooted in the physical. Even our mind, which is a program that produces thoughts, comes into existence after we are born. So, poor things, the words, are an inadequate means to describe something that is essentially non-physical. It is like trying to use a foot rule to measure the thickness of a thin sheet of paper. Do the words then have any role in spirituality? In my view, they do. Our mind and thinking are shaped by words, although on a physical plane. To go into spirituality is to go away from the physical to where we started from. This means we have to retrace our way back. That process can be helped by words again. It is like diamond being the only one that can cut a diamond, or a thorn being used to remove another thorn. In spiritual seeking, words perform the job of pointing from afar towards the direction in which to move. The moving is done by our mind. At the end of this journey, the words will disappear together with our mind, and we will realize our spiritual goal. The goal itself cannot be adequately captured in words, although we may use some words like self-realization, merging with God, realization of absolute truth, etc. These words only direct us towards the goal. The goal can only be experienced upon reaching it. Limitations of language in spirituality. The only universal aspect of spirituality is the ultimate goal, namely self-realization. The path to reach that goal is completely individual, and there is no universality to any particular path. Each path is as valid as the follower of it finds it so. In other words, spirituality is essentially experiential and not bookish. It follows, therefore, that arguments, explanations, justifications in favor of and against a particular spiritual concept or path are of little avail, if at all. Each person perceives them from his own colored background. Added to that is the fact of severe limitations of language as a means of communication. Many key words are understood differently by different people. So when two persons are arguing over something, it is more often than not akin to two partially deaf persons talking to each other. I remember a joke I read long time back, which goes as follows. First deaf, asking, "Is it Monday today?" Second deaf replies, "No, it is Monday today." The first deaf then says, "Oh, I thought it was Monday today." Likewise, more often than not, we tend to argue on something, though it is very likely that both mean the same thing. So it is futile to expect to convert someone to a particular school of thought through logical arguments. One may share one's ideas and thoughts, but without wanting to win an argument or for having the last word. Spiritual pursuit for me, by me, of me. Like democracy is ruled by the people, for the people, of the people. Spiritual pursuit is by me, for me, and of me. I should not concern myself with the spiritual pursuit by others, or even the total absence of it on the part of others, including my near and dear ones. I must remember that each individual has his or her own path for spiritual evolution, liberation. Similarly, I should not let others unnecessarily meddle with my spiritual pursuit. Even if they criticize it, I should simply ignore the criticism. Of course, while pursuing a spiritual path, I should not neglect my worldly duties. Only then can I face the criticism of people around me. I will stop here today. Until I see you the next time. Bye. Take care.